Right, I've just been doing some potting up for the summer. It's a bit windy out there, so I've come into my conservatory to do it. So I potted up some geraniums that somebody gave me yesterday. Thank you very much, they're lovely. I've left a little bit of a gap there where the compost is. That's for when I water, the water doesn't flow straight off, that it actually gets some time to soak into the compost. And I put some drainage in the bottom. So here we are, this is another pot I'm going to do. And I've already put some bits of tiles in there. And that's the drainage for that. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to pot up a fuchsia that was a cut-in probably about 2 months ago, maybe 2.5 months ago, and it's quite tall and leggy. I was going to pinch it out and make it shoot out. I'll show you in a minute actually. If I pinch that out now, what I'm going to do is encourage this sidewards growth. However, I've looked at it, it's quite tall, quite straight. I think it will make a nice standard. So we'll talk about making a standard fuchsia as I pot it up. So get rid of the weed. So first of all, I'm going to pot it up. So what I've done, I've put my drainage in the bottom there. That's to help it drain through. With pot plants, they do need to stay moist, but you need the water to drain through. You don't want it just to stay there. The compost wants to be moist all the time, but there wants to be some air in for the roots as well. They need air as well as water. So there we go, and we got some compost. And I'm going to put a little bit in the bottom and work this out. Do it by eye. And get this out of there. See, that's got a lovely root structure on it, that fuchsia. And then I'm going to put it in there. I think I might just put a little bit more compost in because I'm going to pack it down a bit. There we go. And then just gently round the sides. Oh, good job I'm not being paid by the hour for this. I'll do it a lot quicker in the nursery. And then just let it know it's in there. You don't need to ram that compost in, just let it know it's in there, tuck it right round those roots, and then, of course, give it the gardener's tap. There we go, and there's a nice little rim there where the water can gather. Rather than it flow over, if it was too full, the water would just flow over. It will now gather there and then soak into the compost, which is a good thing. Lots of people say, how deep should I plant it? Well, how deep should you plant it? Well, that's the depth it likes to be at the moment, so don't put a lot more compost over the top, maybe just a finger thickness over the top, maybe not even that. That's how deep you should plant it. And now, because I said that's quite tall, I'm going to make a standard out of it. Now, if you were making a standard normally, what I would do, I would choose a plant, or a fuchsia, that had 3 leaves, because it's got 3 points of growth. However, I haven't got that. I will have when that cutting takes. However, at the moment, I haven't got it. So I've got one here that's got 2. So what I want to do, I want this to grow up, and I want it to grow up as quick as it can. So when I was a boy, I was taught by, actually it was a guy who'd been taught by a Victorian gardener, so good old timer, brilliant lessons he taught me. But one of the things he taught me about fuchsias was that he'd remove all the shoots and all the leaves. Now that used to work, that used to make a standard fuchsia, but it was very, very slow. So this method is a lot quicker. So what I will do is, I will get these shoots and I will just gently remove them. And you don't want to damage that soft stem of the fuchsia. See where I'm going here. But can you see, I'm just gently, just twisting them a little bit. You could use a knife, an old label, something like that to do this. There you go, look, see I'm removing them quite easily. But you just got to be careful not to damage that stem. And I'm leaving the leaves there. That's the important bit, and that's what speeds it up. Because these leaves are little factories that make food for the fuchsia. And so if you remove them, there's less leaves making food. So this is a better way to make it grow. It's got a lot more it's got a bigger food factory and a bigger supply of food to help it grow. And there we go, look, see, removing the little buds there. And then for these really small ones, you can use a penknife, or actually I'm going to use something a bit blunter. I'm going to use a screwdriver just to remove them. Just push them gently, not catching that stem. You'll be very, very careful. I'm holding the leaf there, look, and then I can actually grab that with my finger. There. And that's all you need to do. Just keep removing those side shoots as they appear. As that grows, you'll get the side shoots. And of course, I'll need to just stake that to make sure it carries on growing straight. Because this is very soft at the moment, this wood, so it will have a tendency to lean over if I'm not careful. So, trusty bamboo cane, cut this morning. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to go as close as I can to the stem, but I don't want to damage those roots as I ram this cane in. So as I just gently push it in, I'm twisting it. So it's doing minimum damage to the roots. And then I'll feel the bottom of the pot in a minute, but I'm just twisting it. So it just, ooh, there we go. That's the bottom. There we go. That's the bottom of the pot. So there you've got your cane. And now I've got, well, anybody decent would have some string or twine to do this. If you grow a cordline tree, Cornish palm as we call it down here, you get loads of this on your lawn just before you cut it that's blown off the tree. So what I do, like the formium in one of my earlier videos, I just peel it back and make cord out of that and cut it off. And here's some I did earlier. Well, there's two reasons for doing that. First of all, I've got no string in the house, so I needed it. And secondly, I'm tight. So this just saves a bit of money. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to tie this fuchsia. Now, I'm not going to tie this really tight. I'm just going to keep the fuchsia growing straight. In fact, if I tighten it too much, the fuchsia might catch onto that and start to bend the stem. So there we go. There we go. That's very, very loose. Very loose. And I'll cut that off with my knife in a minute or two just to neaten it up when I've finished. There we go. I think I might just do 3 on here. There we go. Just a normal knot, but just very, very gently there. This is bound to go wrong because I'm doing it in front of the camera. And I think I might just do a 3rd one up here, just to that top. And as it grows, of course, I will put more twine on as it goes higher up the cane. And there we go. So basically, that's your standard fuchsia. Now, what you need to do is keep that compost moist, as I've already said, and because this is fresh compost, it's got feed in it already, so I'm going to leave it, I don't know, 4 weeks or so, just watering it normally, just because it's got plenty of feed in there. And then different people have different ideas with fuchsias. I will grow this with a general fertiliser. I think I just want some steady growth. As the flowers appear, because I want it to grow now and not waste energy on flowers, I'll just pick those flower buds off as well. But I will always keep those leaves on. And then when it gets to the height I want it, I will just pinch out that top shoot. And then from then on, it will start shooting out and it will encourage sideward growth. So if I want a 6-footer, I'll get it this tall and I'll pinch the top out. I'm going to have that probably as long as that cane, and then next year I'll have it in a centre of a pot with other things around it, and it will be a lovely, lovely fuchsia. I think it's one called Swing Time with red and white flowers that will come down. And yeah, so that will go up the cane. And what we were saying about feeding, I'm going to use a general fertiliser, as I said, but when it gets towards the latter end of summer, I'm going to swap it for potash. Now, potash fertiliser, like tomato fertiliser, that's good for fruit and flowers, so you are going to start getting more flowers trying to be produced. But what it also does is help it wood up the stem and harden up the stem. So I want it to grow at the moment, so a general fertiliser will do that trick, and then I'm going to start introducing a potash fertiliser just towards the end of the year, so it just gets a nice woody hard stem, and that will be it. Now, just one final note: anything in pots, if you start putting them out on your patio, get some feet underneath it or just raise it up on something just to clear that hole at the bottom so you get that free drainage with pots, because they, as I said, you want them moist but you don't want them to be too wet and too full of water. So I'll tell you what, get the kids to have a go at this. Standard fuchsia, easy to do, and I reckon by the end of the summer it will be easily to the top of this cane, probably a bit taller again. So have a go.